Zel Boy Army, welcome to another spicy one on the channel. Very spicy one indeed. We're here with FIFA title update 4, I believe. Update 4 of the year. So normally on previous FIFAs we've had more updates more frequently, but this year they tend to be bigger, more bulky updates when we get them, and there is a lot to dig into in this one. I definitely think there's some good stuff about this FIFA. I definitely think there's some bad stuff. So hopefully, I've already had a look through this, so I'm not hoping or guessing what's going to be now. I've read through this before I do it for the video, but we're going to go over it, analyze it, and I'll talk about how I think this will affect the game, my thoughts, if they're good decisions, and how FIFA could look moving forward. So the issues with these, I'm not too bothered about that. I'm more looking at gameplay. This is what this channel's dedicated to generally. I made the following changes. Driven passes are now more likely to be intercepted by players standing in the ball's travel path. So I do understand the logic that EA have in nerfing driven passes, because this is a direct nerf to driven passes by making them easier to intercept. However, whilst driven passes are really good, I don't want them nerfed, because the problem with this game is that, and I think at a high level especially, people don't like driven passes just being spammed everywhere. But the reason that you need them in the game right now is the gameplay speed is so slow that if you do not use driven passes, it's very hard to break anyone down and attack quickly. You need to do driven passes to speed your tempo of your attack up, because when you're playing a really good player, if the game's too slow, it's very easy for them to defend. I don't know. Obviously, with these, it's sentences, it's words, it's not actual numbers which statistically mean anything. Is this very slight upgrade to interceptions, or do players intercept them much better? It's hard to fully know based off just the wording of some things, but I get the principle and theory behind the driven pass nerf, but I don't like it. I just think it's the game's already slow enough, but I have to see it in practice even. Sub-dribbling animations triggered by moving the left stick, which include the ball carrier taking small touches to avoid a potential tackle, now only occur when contextual agile dribbling is set to on. So this is probably something to do with the glitch, where people have been able to have contextual agile dribbling and the competitive master switch on anyway, even in online modes where it's not supposed to be on. Hopefully that's fixed that now, because that's just stupid. When defending across with the auto switching set to automatic on air balls and loose balls or only air balls, an automatic player switch will go slightly faster than before. Good. Sometimes my players just don't switch on that. The way with switching on a cross, it's just too quick, and there's too many men generally to switch quick, so you need this. Reduce shooting assistance when attempting to a shot in situations where the goalkeeper is positioned closely to either one of their posts. I don't understand that at all. The only reason the keepers tends to be positioned close to one of their posts is because someone has moved them with the keeper movement. If someone moves the keeper, why should, if you shoot at the other corner where it's basically an open net, why should the game make your shot more likely to miss? That's ridiculous. I don't really understand it. Unless I'm reading and understanding that wrong, I really don't understand that one. But I could be wrong on that, but yeah, that seems crazy to me. If people miscalculate the keeper movement and you outplay it by going the other way, you should not be punished. When playing matches with the defensive corners custom tactic slider bar to 1 or 2, more players will now be positioned outside the box and halfway line. Improved AI teammate defensive marking during short corner scenarios. I think those two have been put together to try stop corner glitches. Hopefully that is fixed, because right now it is far too easy to score from corners. So I'm really hoping that has fixed that, and we will not see people just spamming corners and scoring loads of goals for them now. In theory, it's good, but I need to see it in practice again. In a situation where a jockeying defender is nutmegged, they will no longer perform an animation in which they slip while turning. Great. It is so frustrating when I'm jockeying and standing my ground to defend a dribble and someone just runs at me, it goes through my legs, and it makes my player slip. Good that that's fixed. Reduce the frequency of CPU AI slide tackles. They should never do that. It should be set to 0. Removed some lunging animations that could occur when the controlled player was attempting to block a ground pass or short lob pass. It depends if it's bad ones. I think that they should be able to lunge sometimes. Okay, the following issues. Goalkeepers are sometimes unable to make shots or make saves when shots are aimed close to them between their knees and head. Yep, I've noticed that. Good that that's been fixed. When playing matches with the defensive custom tactic slider set to 7 or above, defenders could unintentionally drop deep into their own half. Good if that's fixed. When attempting to perform a right stick player switch to a centre back, a different player could sometimes switch to instead. I've noticed this. This is a really annoying one where I know I've switched to the centre back, but it's switched to a full back. I've not been able to get to the player in time and they scored. That'll have cost people at a really high level a lot of money on this game. Well, not a lot of money because there's not a lot of money right now in this esports so far this season. Hopefully some of the bigger prizes will come later in the year, but yeah, pretty disappointing that that's even made it this far. Some situations, goalkeepers were not making successful saves on shots that were within reachable diving distance. I mean, yeah, again, fixing keepers. Keepers have been pretty bad on this game so far, so that's good. The next player indicator could sometimes appear over an unintended player as opposed to the player that was originally switched off of. Yep, good that that's been fixed. A white placeholder UI element could have sometimes displayed near players during matches. Not noticed that. Fair enough. A goalkeeper could deflect a savable low shot into their own net. Seen that plenty. Finishing, in my opinion, still needs to be better and more consistent. So fixing keepers is all good when they need fixing, but you also just need to make shooting better. They've nerfed shooting with that one where they've turned shooting assistants off. Keeper could commit a foul without a referee awarding set piece to the other team. Fair enough. Team press meter would unintentionally decrease while team press was starting up after its activation. Okay. When activating a player lock, a player switch could not be requested to the player let go of the right stick input and then made a player switch request. I don't use player lock, but fair enough. Sometimes if I was not called following tackle, that was clearly late. Yeah, I've noticed that. There's a lot here, man. When losing the ball in a rare situation, the ball card becomes stuck in place. Not seen that. Dummy thing happened instead of driven pass. Not seen that, but that's bad if that happens. I've not noticed that before about penalty kicks. Yeah, I've seen that in co-op with people staying as the keeper. It's good if that's fixed. I'm just gonna talk about any interesting ones I see now. Unsuccessful attempt to block a shot on animation could occur, which involves the player moving the leg away from the ball. Yeah, blocks sometimes they just don't block easy shots that you've positioned in front of. That's bad. Apparently, it's just a visual thing actually, but yeah, the blocks need to be a bit better sometimes. AI block should be worse. Manual block should be better. Yeah, I've noticed pass or shot sometimes take too long. The defending player could unintentionally decelerate when chasing after an air ball. That could be a potentially massive one. That is why chip through balls are so good, because players decelerate randomly in the air and get caught. If that's fixed, that is a huge upgrade. So while they're not nerfing through balls directly, this is a massive indirect nerf to through balls. So good. The amount of goals I concede when I mark the through ball miles ahead of time is, and then my player just stops moving. It's crazy. So that's good. Let's see if there's anything else. The goalkeeper could teleport when making a dive. So I think I've seen that once this year. One thing I will say is, how on earth do some of these make it to January? The game's been out 3.5, nearly 4 months by the time this patch go live. How does some of this stuff get through testing? The ball not always travel as far as intended on clearances. Good if that's fixed. Okay, yeah, all the gameplay stuff there seems good in principle. There's a few things I disagree with, like the driven pass nerf, shooting assistance turned off when they move the keeper badly. Really don't understand that one. Like, I can at least understand the driven pass, but I can't understand the shooting assistance thing. But yeah, in general, I think this improves the game. I do worry, like, with how shooting currently is it going to be very, very hard to score past keepers? I like that they're nerfing the chip through balls and corners. I don't know, though, from what I'm seeing, if there's much about people sitting stupidly deep and being hard to break down. If that's not fixed, that could be a pretty big issue now. It could be really hard to score goals on this game, which no one wants, I don't think. But yeah, for the health of the game, it seems pretty good. Once the patches come out, I'll be testing it. I give lots of videos on it, new tactics, showing how I'd play on the new patch. Yeah, hopefully it's a good one. It does look good on paper, but obviously that's not always the way things work. Appreciate you guys watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, keep it spicy. See you in the next one.